Hello, welcome to the channel. Today I think I'm going to be doing some building in The Sims 4. I was thinking about maybe trying to do like a personal challenge to myself of like I'm going to do something for this many people on this budget um, in this style of whatever. So anyway, um, that's what I think I'm going to do today. I think I'm probably going to do it in the Newcrest neighborhood just because this one's pretty empty still. Um, I think I'm going to turn off the video so that it's just The Sims on your screen and start just building and kind of come up with my design idea and all that. The super high tech house over here. I think we're going to do a mid-century modern type thing here and make these two little brownstones and then maybe put like a nice Victorian either here or here because this one actually has some nice water features on it and this one's right by that nice little lake. uh, so yeah, I think those would probably be good locations for things. I'm going to start with the mid-century modern because it's kind of that ranch style long thin house, and so it's just easy to do. uh, so yeah, I think it's a good starting place for the beginning of this series. We're gonna make it daytime because I'm lazy, and I don't like dealing with changes in light. So at this point, I have turned down the volume on everything because it's a lot of just me talking as I'm building, and I had like 2.5 hours that I was building this house, so I decided I would speed it up so you guys didn't have to listen to me prattle on about things like mailboxes and garbage cans. So that's what I just did here. I put in a mailbox and a garbage can. I'm going to draw a driveway, or like a walkway, I guess, not really a driveway, up to the house, and then I kind of experiment around with like some other shades and colors. This is kind of the first time I've used the spray paint tool like this because I kind of stopped doing the walkways after it went from like the tiles that you would use to the spray paint tool. Or at least when I remember, it went from the tiles you would use to the spray paint tool. So anyway, I thought it would be cool to put a little walkway in because of the type of house it is. And then yeah, I couldn't decide what I liked once I'd done it and stuck with what I originally put down. This is me doing the basic outline of what I want the house to end up being. I was kind of going for that long rectangle that a lot of mid-century modern homes are. I don't know that I did a great job on it. It probably should be a little thinner and a little shorter, but I really like the vaulted ceilings. So I apparently made compromises for my aesthetic. And then this is me just trying a bunch of different doors and talking about how the bathroom door is probably the closest to what I've seen on mid-century modern homes. Just that plain brown door with like the round doorknob or the weird, like if you've never seen it before, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like this weird almost like marbleized metal is what it's supposed to look like, I think, but it kind of just looks dirty doorknob. So anyway, I I was lamenting the fact that they didn't have something similar, and I started to put in windows, but then in a couple seconds I'm going to realize I hate the door when I find the windows I truly like. So I think I actually install a bunch of windows first, and then I end up going back and taking them all out. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So that's what this is. Oh, and then I started drawing like where I wanted the rooms to be, because I was having a hard time putting in windows. I have a hard time putting in windows until I know where I expect the like the bathroom and stuff to be. So I initially was going with this structure. I ended up changing it because I decided I'd make the bathroom that whole back corner. And then I take out the wall between the kitchen and the dining room too at one point, but it's apparently later. So back to windows. Do. Window picking is always a tedious process for me because I don't ever 100% like the windows that they have in the game for the aesthetic I'm going for. So yeah, that's part of what's going on here. And I also don't like putting big windows in my bathroom, so that's why you'll see little tiny slit windows going in the back. It's because I, I in real life I don't like giant windows in my bathroom. Like who does? Like I like the light from it and everything, but at the same time, like it just feels weird to me to have these giant windows that you have to cover in your bathroom. So anyway, this is where I realized there were these fun giant windows that maybe were a little bit more the aesthetic of the house I was going for. So I started playing with some of them. I found these ones that I really like, and I was like, wait, maybe I'll do a ton of those. And then like, no, that's too much. So I put back in some of these little brown ones, and then I do eventually change the door as well because I realized that there's a door that matches those windows, but it may be later when I'm putting doors into the rest of the house. So I might be getting ahead of myself. Yeah, this is like a super easy house because of the shape and style of it. Like it's just, oh, there we go. Now I'm moving stuff around to put in the other door. And taking off part of the walkway to um, to accommodate the. I don't like when things are asymmetrical. The door was 2 spaces and my walkway was 3 spaces, so obviously I needed to remove. And now I'm taking down some of the walls that I put in because I realized like I don't want this huge separation between everything. I like a more open floor plan for like the living room, kitchen, dining area. Uh, so I tend to end up doing that. At this point, I was thinking those 2 walls that are open were going to lead into like a dining room and a kitchen area. I actually end up making the area I was going to make the dining room into a study and opening up the dining area. And I'll move a bunch of these walls around actually. Nothing that you're seeing here is permanent. um, I knew I wanted like the avocado color appliances because that's very mid-century as far as like what you would have actually found in homes. I couldn't find a range hood that matched it. I couldn't really find counters that matched it enough for my liking, but I found some that would work and I didn't hate. So that's the process I'm going through right now is finding those countertops that I think kind of match that's not them. They're there. Match the aesthetic I'm going for, but don't completely match the avocado-y, tealy green of the sink. Or not the sink, I'm sorry, the refrigerator and the stove. So that's my preliminary setup. I do move all of this. I was going to build an island because I thought it would be neat to have one, but I couldn't get it to connect properly, like that third piece. I even tried like deleting it and then putting in a new one. And when I went to put in the chairs here for this smaller version, it's really, I didn't like it. I just didn't like how it looked, like with the one stool kind of off to the side, and so I was like, oh no. Putting a dining room in here anyway, just get rid of it. So this is where I realized I want that to be the study and remove the wall for the dining area completely, because I just didn't feel like it was, I put it in a different window. I didn't feel like it made as much sense or flowed as well to have it the other direction, and kind of made that S-curve in the walls because I thought it would look a little nicer and create some angles to the room. But yeah, and now I am searching for a bed that fits the aesthetic of the house I'm going for, but I was trying to go historically accurate, and there are some that look a lot like the furniture I've seen from like the 50s and the 60s, and so I had put one of those in, but it's so low as far as the benefits it gives your sim that I was like, I don't know that I like this one. So, yeah. I installed it and I tried some different furniture with it. I really liked that dresser. I felt like it fit the aesthetic I was going for. So then it became, okay, let's get rid of this bed. Let's find one that fits better with that. That's the bed I ended up going with, which is not super mid-century modern in and of itself, but I thought it looked okay with the dresser that I was choosing, and also the nightstands I eventually ended up choosing. And I thought these lights were very mid-century modern in their aesthetic. And then same thing with the ones I ended up putting in the kitchen. I do eventually replace the one that's in the dining room. I went with this really great chandelier that I thought was perfect. This one was just so ridiculous. It's huge and it hangs down so low. But the one that this one that I eventually chose and loved and thought really fit the aesthetic, it doesn't look great once you put a table with it. So I ended up undoing that once I was actually doing the dining area. So that super awesome chandelier does go away. I'm sorry. I loved it. It's just, it's so perfect for the aesthetic, but anyway. Oh well, it's like real life. You may like something and think it's perfect, but if it doesn't fit the space, it doesn't fit the space, right? Also, sorry I'm yawning so much. I am extremely tired. I'm doing this the next day and realized all of my narration while I was building was going to be super fast forwarded, so I should talk less while I build and plan on doing a voiceover. Anyway, this is me trying out some different rugs, trying to figure out something that would work in that space, because I like the idea of a rug under the bed. I feel like it's really accurate to like the type of house I'm going for in this video. But it was really hard to find something I liked, and putting the dresser in that room with the bed and the rug, and I don't know, I had a really big struggle trying to get this to work. So yeah, this is me trying out different nightstands. None of them were ones that I liked. I ended up finding some that matched the dresser, and they're okay. I mean, I actually liked this little guy, but it didn't fit with the rest of the room. So, yeah. There's the ones that match the dresser. I ended up just putting two of those in, and I think all of this gets moved again, maybe? I can't remember. It was a long day filming. I sat here and filmed this for like 2.5 hours. I put the toilet in there, and then I realized it's like directly in front of the door, and I hated it. So I end up moving around this layout, and there's a huge chunk of time where I'm trying to figure out how to fit the shower where the sink is right now. because I liked it better, but because of the angles on that room where the door was placed, it took me longer than it should have to realize that that was the problem. Um, I wasn't able to put it where I actually wanted to put it, even once I changed the walls in a little bit. Um, so yeah, I gave up. It ends up underneath the, oh, here's me not being able to figure out that the door is what's in the way for way too long. So I just moved the light thinking it was the light. No, there it's the door. And then trying to move that door into a corner I can't go into because like it goes outside. Anyway, just, apparently I was having some problems with basic geometry and how things work. So I did that and I put the shower there, but then I still really didn't like the layout that much. So I kind of play around with it some. I end up changing things pretty dramatically as far as where things are located. I do find that drywall is really nice when I'm putting in like the lights and stuff because I can make sure everything's level because it drives me nuts when things look crooked, and once you put on the wallpaper because of the way they do the aspect ratio, it always makes it look like stuff is just a little bit off, you know? So, anyway, that has nothing to do with anything I'm doing other than it's my personal preferences. Woohoo.
So now I'm just kind of playing around with where things are in the bathroom. Um, I get annoyed pretty easily with the decorating part of homemaking in life and in The Sims. I decided to switch to rugs because I was having a hard time. And then I decided I was choosing ugly rugs because I felt it fit the era and not so much what you would find in a mid-century modern home now. So that's also why you see me changing the coloring on the shower. I felt like the shower itself was a good representation of mid-century modern, but I wanted to put some updated colors and styles on. So that's also why we have the like dots for rugs. Yeah. There's really no other thing to say about that other than I got I got sick of the ugly colors that were part of the decade that the house is based off of. Uh, so I just started doing colors and stuff that I liked, but the stuff that was the general shape and style that fits that mid-century modern idea, which is how I ended up with this glass desk and super comfy looking overstuffed chair. I thought that it also kind of fit. I tried like some egg chairs and stuff like that too, maybe later on in the living room. And then I just, while they fit the mid century modern aesthetic, I didn't really like them. So, anyway, yeah. Next up, I think I'm choosing a bookcase. Oh, first I swear I accidentally left the house. Uh, those load screens, they're long even when they're at 400 times speed. Anyway, I was changing the coloring on the archway, so because all the other doors were brown and that one was white, I realized. So anyway, and this is me picking out all the different bookcases I think fit the mid-century modern aesthetic, and then deciding which ones I actually like when they are in the room. And I landed on that one. I just like the floating wall one. I didn't think quite looked right, and I didn't like the short little squat bookcase. Not a big fan of those. So anyway, moving on to a dining room table, which was so stinking hard to pick out of this. Partially because I was trying to make that chandelier work. I really love that chandelier, but it just looks so big next to every single table I tried underneath it. Like some of these tables are not small tables and they still just look so tiny under that chandelier. Um, so I ended up deciding, well, I guess I better get rid of the chandelier and use a table that's a decent sized table. It's not a small table, and it still just looks so small. And then these little single tables or like double tables look even smaller. So maybe it's just a headache. Anyway, well, that's 3 squares worth of table, that last one, and it's still tiny. So I decided to go with like a 4-person setting is what I had settled on I was gonna do, and I put this in because I thought the green would kind of match the avocado-y feel in the kitchen. That one was even more giant. In the kitchen, and I keep them for longer than I should because they don't really match the kitchen. That one's also a good mid-century modern one, but I wanted more of like a hanging down chandelier. Anyway, that looks like what's in my living room of my duplex that my husband and I own that's from the 70s, that chain chandelier. This one I loved. I ended up changing the color on it because again, I was trying to pull the greens together, and you can only do that so much before it feels like too much, and I had crossed that line into too much, so I started changing some stuff back. I think that's enough for today. It's been quite a long video, so see you next time.